did you know that the writer in Proverbs, he writes about 4 mysteries that are so amazing that it's beyond human comprehension? All right, so today I'm going to talk about a few verses found in Proverbs, and it speaks on 4 marvelous mysteries in the Bible. Speaking of marvel and mysteries, you guys have to check out my friend's channel, and it's Marvel and Mysteries. She has a YouTube channel, Matrix of Justice. You guys check it out. She has just a whole library category of videos, articles that can help you and foster your relationship and your walk with God. So the couple of verses I'm going to read today are found in Proverbs 30, verses 18 and 19. And I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in and read those. There are 3 things that are too amazing for me, 4 that I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship on the high seas, and the way of a man with a young woman. Now, right off the bat, you may be thinking, okay, Kristen, but I actually had to do a deeper study on these too, just to kind of get the deeper meaning of what the writer was trying to say. And these verses, they remind us and imply that everyday realities can stretch our minds and our imaginations when viewed through the lens of God's wisdom. So in verse 18, the writers almost, I guess you could say the implications are that these familiar sights, whether it be the eagle, the rock, etc., or anything else in life, they can really overwhelm even the brightest of minds when you're thinking deeply on them. But it's also almost like an invitation to invite us to just really take a deep look, really observe, and take notice of all of God's creation. And we can admit that, yeah, we don't understand it all, but even if we don't understand all these mysteries and deeper things, that's okay, because we can still stand in awe of God's creation. Then we kind of start getting into the meat in verse 19, and he starts speaking of the eagle, the way it flies. If you really think about it, yeah, it's effortless. It just glides with precision. And did you know that the eagle is a lot of times used as a metaphor for the Lord's protection and care of his people, such as was seen in Exodus 19:4. And God describes carrying the Israelites on eagle's wings. These verses can also hint at the prophetic revelation that comes to God's people in a supernatural and or mysterious way. Then the writer begins to speak on the snake. You know, if you think about it, a snake, when it glides on, it doesn't leave a footprint or a trace that it was there. It's very subtle and sly. And in a way, it's like it describes the hidden nature of sin and temptation when you think of just how sneaky and sly and quiet a snake comes and leaves. You know, it made me right off the bat think of the snake in the Garden of Eden. Then he speaks of the path or the way of a ship. And this one I really connected with when I was reading it. It's like you think about life in general and how unpredictable it can be. It's like a boat in the sea or the ocean. I also learned while reading these verses that in ancient times, the sea was seen almost like a symbol of chaos and danger. And the way a ship was able to navigate those waters illustrates the transient nature of human life. It's almost like the deeper meaning of this one, a reminder that our journey in life depends on the unseen hand of God. And you know, we all try to steer those waters. We try to steer our lives the way we think it should go. And what we think is best sometimes. But it doesn't matter how hard we try to do that because God controls the waves. And just when we try to take the steering wheel and we try to command our own lives, God can allow a big old wave to come crashing down and change the course. So it's almost like that reminder to me, the way I saw it is like, yeah, that's so true. The unpredictability of life in general and how we need to be reminded to let God navigate those waters instead of us trying to take over. Then that brings us to the fourth mystery where the writer speaks of the bridegroom. And I saw it put this way, that this part celebrates the wonder and purity of courtship. Relationships, definitely romantic ones especially, they can be complex and a mystery, right? The deeper meaning of that part, this can really convey the mystery of love and how that reflects the profound and sacrificial love that Jesus has for us. So wrapping up, just kind of a summary, these four pictures, these four different mysteries, they can invite humble admiration. They remind us that our Creator's wisdom, it far exceeds our own. And as I said in the beginning, even though we may not understand all of life's mysteries, we can still respond and just stand in awe of what God has created, how He has made things to be, and we can always ask for wisdom. The Bible encourages that, to ask for it, and He will give freely. So that wraps it up, guys. I really wanted to dive into these. Mysteries have always just intrigued me, no matter what they're pertaining to in life. And when I came upon these verses, I was like, what is the deeper meaning of those? So I really had to go into the commentary and the studies on these verses in Proverbs. It was just ended up being a blessing to me. I hope it was to you guys as well. If you have anything to add or any prayer requests, please let me know. I really thank you guys for watching. Again, hope it was a blessing, and I hope you're having an incredible summer. I'm going to see you guys for our next story.